In the soft collapse of twilight, as your eyes surrender to the weight of night, something ancient stirs behind the veil of sleep. The world quiets, the noise fades, and just as the body falls into stillness, your consciousness begins its departure. You do not simply sleep, you leave. And where you go is not nowhere. It is not nothing. It is a passage, a portal, a hidden doorway not charted on any map, yet etched into the architecture of your being. They told you sleep was rest, a biological need, a shutdown. But that was only the surface of it, the visible shell. Beneath it lies the hidden truth. Sleep is a sacred departure from the physical world and an initiation into the unseen. What happens in that first moment when the body grows heavy and the mind begins to loosen its grip on waking reality? You begin to unhook, not just from the day, but from the illusion. The mind, tethered so tightly to the world of matter, begins to drift. Beta waves collapse. The rational mind goes dim, but something else flickers to life. The dreamer, the witness, the traveler. And the moment you cross that invisible boundary between wakefulness and the dreamscape, you begin to remember, if only in whispers, that you are more than the body, that your mind is not bound by bone, that consciousness does not require a stage of flesh to act. In that liminal space, you start to feel it, the soft hum of another layer of reality, a layer that doesn't begin when you close your eyes. It has always been there. Sleep simply removes the blindfold. And where do you go? Not forward in time, not into darkness. You go inward and outward simultaneously. You descend into the chambers of your own mind, and yet you ascend into other dimensions. Your brain shifts into deeper rhythms, alpha, then theta, then delta, each one unlocking a different gate. And as each gate opens, your sense of I begins to dissolve. You are no longer the name you answered to, no longer the face in the mirror. You are now the field of awareness floating between worlds. Cultures across the globe have always known this. Ancient Egyptians called sleep the small death and saw dreams as sacred messengers. The Aborigines of Australia viewed the dream time as the origin of all creation. Tibetan monks trained for years in dream yoga, not to escape reality, but to enter it more fully. Because in sleep, you are not escaping life. You are returning to it. You are stepping beyond the stage props of waking illusion and touching something far more real. But here's the strange part, the part that science hesitates to admit. During deep sleep, the brain exhibits patterns that mirror those of advanced meditators. That is, people who have trained themselves to still the mind, exit the ego, and access non-ordinary states of awareness. Near-death experiences show the same neural signatures. So what does that mean? It means that every single night, without even knowing it, you are entering the same gateway that mystics have sought for millennia. You are rehearsing the art of leaving the body. The difference is, most forget. Most do not remember where they went, what they touched, or who they met. But if you begin to ask the question, not casually but with reverence, where does my consciousness go while I sleep? You may start to see the doorway open with greater clarity, because asking is the first form of alignment, and intention is the ignition key to the deeper layers of the dream. Tonight, as your head meets the pillow, try this. Do not simply drift off. Enter the threshold with awareness. Ask your mind to remember. Whisper to your soul, show me where I go. And if you are still enough and silent enough, you may feel it. The pulse, the pull, the quiet unraveling of everything you thought you were, until what remains is not a sleeper, but a voyager. Would you like me to continue with part 2 of the script, diving into the core metaphysical and scientific themes of what truly happens during sleep? Sleep, that quiet surrender at the end of each day. To most, it is rest. To others, an escape. But beneath the surface of stillness lies a portal, one that does not lead to dreams alone, but to an entire spectrum of realities layered just beyond the veil. To explore where your consciousness truly goes during sleep, we must first dismantle the illusion that sleep is merely the brain entering a state of rest. The brain does not shut down at night. It shifts, transforms, and unlocks access to states of being that defy ordinary waking logic. The ancients spoke of this not as speculation, but as knowledge passed through initiatory wisdom schools. In the Vedic traditions of India, deep sleep was revered as one of the four states of consciousness: Jagrat, waking; Svapna, dreaming; Sushupti, deep sleep; and Turiya, the transcendent state beyond all. In this framework, deep sleep was not an absence, but a doorway. In that silence, in that blankness we mistake for unconsciousness, the soul wanders freely. Modern science now confirms what mystics once intuited. During REM sleep, where dreams surge and the eyes flicker behind closed lids, the brain enters frequencies similar to deep meditation and even psychedelic states. Theta and delta waves take over. These are not idle patterns. They are gateways. They loosen the hold of linear time, soften the grip of identity, and allow consciousness to expand. Some researchers, like Dr. Charles Tart and the team at the Monroe Institute, have gone further. Their studies into out-of-body experiences suggest that a person's awareness can temporarily separate from the physical shell. Participants describe the sensation of floating, of perceiving distant locations, of seeing their own bodies from above. These are not the fantasies of fringe mystics, but repeatable, documented occurrences that challenge the assumption that the mind is locked inside the skull. What makes sleep so potent and so dangerous to the systems that seek to control perception is that it momentarily returns you to your original state. Not the body, not the personality, not the role, but the observer behind it all. Every night, whether you remember or not, you leave. You dissolve into a field beyond logic, beyond ego, and beyond physicality. And what you encounter there is determined by vibration. Not intellect, not willpower, but frequency. Fear will magnetize darker astral realms. Doubt and distraction will keep you looping through shallow dream fragments. But peace, presence, clarity, these open gates to higher domains, where guidance is given in symbols, where lessons come in whispers, and where healing is encoded in light. Your emotional state, your mental clarity, your spiritual intention, all of these form the coordinates for where you go. In this unseen landscape, four layers of dream experience begin to reveal themselves. The symbolic dreams, filled with strange metaphors and archetypes, are not nonsense. They are the language of your subconscious, speaking in imagery too ancient to be explained in words. Precognitive dreams, those glimpses into the not yet, defy logic because time does not flow in one direction in the sleep realm. Time bends, and your soul, unbound by the clock, sometimes returns with echoes of what's to come. Then there are lucid dreams, the in-between state where you realize you are dreaming and begin to shape the experience. Here, your awareness becomes the sculptor, the dream becomes clay, and the veil between dimensions thins. And beyond even that are the spiritual dreams, where you encounter beings, light, messages, and realms not of the mind's making, but of a deeper origin. Some call these guides, others call them soul fragments, ancestors, or even the higher self. But the result is the same, an expansion of memory, not just human memory, but soul memory. The key to understanding where your consciousness goes is not to think of it spatially, as if you're traveling from point A to point B. You are not going somewhere. You are tuning in. The brain, during sleep, becomes a dial. The body rests, but you, the signal, are still broadcasting. And depending on what you're attuned to, you will receive experiences, messages, and lessons that reflect your inner vibration. It is also in this space that healing becomes possible. Have you ever gone to sleep in despair and woken up with unexpected clarity? Or dreamed of someone you've lost and felt real comfort? This is not the brain playing tricks. It is you accessing a level of self that exists beyond personality, a self that knows how to resolve emotional knots, how to communicate across dimensions, and how to bring back what is needed. Sleep, then, is not passive. It is deeply active, but we've been conditioned to see it as nothing, a pause, a gap, a blackout. In truth, it is one of the most powerful, unguarded states you enter daily. And the system hopes you never notice, because if you truly realize that sleep is a doorway, that dreams are more than mental residue, that your soul leaves the body and connects to the all, then the illusion of disconnection would crumble. This is why mystics dream intentionally. This is why prophets have visions in the night. And this is why you, even in this very moment, are being called to remember. The night does not erase you, it reveals you. And each dream is not a distraction, but an invitation. There is a reason the dream has always been regarded as sacred. Long before the mind was sliced apart by logic and rationalism, humanity saw the night as the realm of the soul, a sacred return to the origin point, a place where the veil grows thin and spirit speaks in code. Across cultures and epochs, dream time was more than an inner theater. It was an astral map. It was the mirror in which the soul recognized itself. Consider this. Every time your eyes close and your breath slows, you begin a descent, not into darkness, but into memory older than your life. It begins subtly, with drifting thoughts, flashes of light behind the lids, strange words echoing without sound. You cross the threshold, that liminal border known as the hypnagogic state, and a gate swings open. Here, your consciousness begins to untether, not in body, but in resonance. You may find yourself walking along a winding staircase made of light, ascending endlessly, or floating above an ocean made of stars, each ripple reflecting a version of yourself you've never met. These aren't fantasies, they are symbols, universal archetypes rising from the collective unconscious, encoded messages from the source. Carl Jung described these as living symbols, energies that shape your transformation, not mere images of the mind, but blueprints of becoming. One woman dreams of flying over a burning forest. She feels no fear, only liberation. When she wakes, she realizes the fire was not destruction, but purification, the letting go of emotional burdens she could not face in waking life. A man dreams of sitting before an ancient council of luminous beings. They don't speak, but he feels waves of understanding move through him. Days later, without knowing why, he makes a life decision that alters his entire course. The dream world, you see, is not random, it is encoded. The four forgotten codes, those elemental principles that structure time, energy, and consciousness, appear here in their most symbolic form. You may not see earth, water, fire, or air in literal terms, but you will dream of caves, oceans, flames, winds. These are not set decorations. They are metaphors living and breathing within you. Earth dreams root you, pulling you towards stability, safety, physical healing. Water dreams speak of emotion, grief, or love still seeking release. Fire dreams ignite, calling forth transformation, anger, clarity. And air dreams, they whisper. They bring messages from the invisible realms, the ancestors, the divine. In certain dreams, you may find yourself navigating a house with endless rooms. This too is a symbol, not of architecture, but of your inner structure. Each room may contain a part of yourself, a memory, a fear, a gift long buried. Doors may be locked. Windows may open to skies you don't recognize. It is not the house that matters, but the movement, the journey through the psyche's layered terrain. Sometimes you meet others, faces you do not know, yet feel familiar. In many esoteric traditions, these are fragments of your own being, soul aspects, guides, or even echoes of parallel selves. They speak to you in riddles, not to confuse, but because your higher self speaks through metaphor, not instruction. You may be given a stone, a key, a map. You may be told a word you can't remember upon waking, yet feel its weight vibrating in your chest. Ancient mystery schools trained initiates to read their dreams as divine messages. In Egypt, temples of healing were dedicated to sacred sleep, where priests and priestesses would induce visionary states to receive wisdom from the divine realms. The Greeks called this incubation. The dreamer would lie upon sacred ground, often after fasting or ritual bathing, and await visions from Asclepius or Apollo. They did not see dreams as escapism, but as revelation. Even today, among indigenous cultures, the dream is a respected dimension. The Aboriginal people of Australia refer to it as the dream time, a timeless realm where the spirits of creation dwell. It is believed that all knowledge and healing can be accessed there if the dreamer is prepared. The Shipibo shamans of the Amazon sing in their sleep, receiving icaros, healing songs, from the plant spirits. They wake and bring them back to heal others. So too with you. Your dreams are not just symbols, they are frequencies. Every image, every moment, is a cipher waiting to be felt, not just interpreted. To decode these symbols, you must stop asking the mind and begin listening with the soul. What did the flame feel like? What emotion lingered after the dream faded? What part of your waking life is it mirroring or transforming? This is the hidden curriculum of the night. You are not just a dreamer, you are a traveler, a witness, a remembering being, and in sleep, you return to the sacred classroom where light is taught not in words, but in patterns, and sound is given not by mouth, but by resonance. Even nightmares, especially nightmares, are part of this symbolic initiation. They appear as monsters, chases, darkness. But look deeper, they are shadows. They are unintegrated aspects of your psyche demanding attention. To flee is to delay the lesson, but to turn, to face the dark figure and ask, "What are you teaching me?" That is the moment of alchemy. The 4 forgotten codes are embedded in every dream. You've seen them all your life, in staircases winding in 4s, in rooms placed at the 4 corners, in animals representing the elements, in seasons flowing in sequence. These are not coincidences, they are reminders. Your dreams are not just yours, they are echoes of the field. They are how the universe reminds you, you are not disconnected, you are not small, you are not forgotten. You are the one dreaming the world and being dreamed by it. The mystery of sleep is not meant to remain confined to twilight hours or forgotten by the light of morning. What happens within your consciousness during those nightly journeys is not separate from waking life. It is the blueprint beneath it. The symbols you encounter, the codes you unlock, the energies you access while you dream, are not figments to be dismissed. They are messengers. And when you learn how to receive them, when you begin to listen, not with your ears but with your energetic being, something fundamental begins to change. This is the great invitation, to bring the wisdom of sleep into your living hours, to remember that your consciousness is not bound by the ticking of clocks or the solidity of walls, that each dream is not just a story, it is instruction, a roadmap. And the first step in practical integration is to remember, not just vaguely, but with reverence. Keep a journal beside your bed. Let the first breath of morning be a sacred pause, not a scroll through distractions. Before the body fully wakes, while the memory is still soft and near, write, even fragments, a sound, a symbol, a sentence. The more you record, the more the dreaming self realizes it is being heard. And when it knows this, it speaks more clearly. This practice is not just memory, it is training. You are cultivating what ancient traditions call the second attention, the awareness that exists beyond logic. You are learning to carry messages from the inner world into this one. And with time, patterns will emerge. Perhaps you always dream of water before an emotional breakthrough. or of lost rooms when you're avoiding something. These are not just dreams, these are diagnostics. Once you recognize these patterns, you begin to live differently. You stop ignoring the quiet whisper before decisions. You notice the synchronicity between a dream image and an event. You begin to trust that your waking choices can be informed by the deeper self that reveals itself each night. But the codes go deeper. Just as your dreams carry elemental symbolism, your waking life can mirror those same four forces. Begin to align your days with these codes, not as superstition, but as sacred rhythm. The Earth Code speaks of grounding. In practical terms, this means reconnecting with your body and environment. Walk barefoot on the soil, eat nourishing food, declutter your space, sleep in darkness and silence. Your physical reality reflects your energetic clarity. The Water Code invites emotional honesty. Let your feelings flow, not suppress or perform. If your dreams are flooded with tears or storms, ask yourself what you've been avoiding emotionally. Journal, speak, cry. Water moves when acknowledged. The Fire Code is mental. It asks you to observe the thoughts you feed. Are you spiraling in fear or directing focus with intent? Use affirmations, not just as phrases, but as daily energetic calibration. Speak your reality into form. Where your fire is focused, reality takes shape. The Air Code is spirit. Practice silence. Meditate. Spend 5 minutes each day listening not to the noise of the world, but the quiet pulse beneath it. This is where guidance rises, not as words, but as knowing. There is also real scientific grounding to this work. The hypnagogic and hypnopompic states, the thresholds of sleep and waking, are now known to be prime states for neuroplasticity. This means you can reshape your beliefs, your responses, your entire energetic field in these moments. Use them wisely. As you fall asleep, set intentions, not vague wishes, but clear direction. Tonight I open to guidance, or I will remember my truth. As you wake, reinforce it. I am aligned, or the dream continues into this day. Technology, when used with discernment, can also support this integration. Binaural beats, certain frequencies, even breathwork audio can entrain the brain to alpha, theta, or delta states, the same frequencies activated in dreaming and deep meditation. Incorporate these into your evening rituals. Protect your space before sleep. Avoid violent media, conflict, and overstimulation. You are shaping your energetic state, and that state becomes the launch pad for your consciousness. Lucid dreaming, too, becomes more than a novelty. It becomes a training ground. When you realize you're dreaming, you're awakening to the nature of reality itself. Practice small acts of awareness during the day. Am I dreaming? Ask it not as a gimmick, but as a doorway. One day, you'll ask it while asleep, and the veil will lift. You can also use what mystics call dream incubation. Pose a question to your higher self before sleep. It can be specific or open-ended. Ask, "Show me what I need to release," or "Reveal the next step." Then watch. The answer may come in a symbol, a scene, a feeling, but it will come if you are willing to notice. Nightmares too shift in this light. Rather than running from them, engage. If a dark figure chases you, stop and ask, "What do you want me to see?" You'll be stunned by what unfolds. The monster is often a message in disguise, the fear, a teacher. This integration also redefines your relationship to exhaustion. You may start to feel that your energy is not just physical, but vibrational. If your sleep feels busy, begin grounding practices in the morning. Feet on earth, water over skin, salt baths, slow breath. You are returning from a journey. Treat it as sacred. Over time, you will feel it. Your waking life is no longer random. It is woven with your inner world. You will speak less, but mean more. You will move slower, but create faster. Because when the codes are active, earth, water, fire, air, You become a mirror of the cosmic design, and your life flows in harmony with the structure behind reality. This is the gift of integration. Your sleep becomes a tool, your mind becomes a compass, your body becomes a temple, and your soul becomes the teacher you've always been seeking. Sleep was never simply rest. It was initiation, a nightly return to the sacred, a re-immersion into the waters of origin. And now that you've remembered, now that the veil has thinned and the architecture beneath reality has revealed itself, the question is no longer what happens during sleep. The question is, what will I do now that I know? The four forgotten codes, time, energy, structure, and consciousness, are not distant philosophies or abstract metaphors. They are living frequencies that flow through you every single night, whether you remember or not. Each time you close your eyes, you are stepping into a portal more powerful than any physical gate. A realm where past, present, and future collapse into one, where form gives way to essence, and where identity dissolves into truth. And when you return each morning, you carry the dust of stars on your eyelashes and the residue of truths too deep for language. But this is not just poetic, it is transformational, because if time bends while you sleep, it means time is not fixed. And if you've seen futures in dreams that later came true, it means your consciousness is not a prisoner of sequence. It is a navigator of timelines, a chooser of doors. And if your energy shifts while you dream, if you wake from one night joyful and from another burdened, then energy is not bound to logic. It is moved by emotion, by intention, by soul. This is why the world's mystics, prophets, and spiritual initiates all revered the night not as darkness, but as return, a sacred rotation into the unseen, where the soul remembers what the ego forgets. It is why ancient temples were built to align with celestial movements, why prayers are spoken before sleep, why dreams are recorded in scrolls older than empires. They knew what we are remembering now. The codes are real, and they are within us. Now is the moment to live as one who remembers. Begin treating sleep not as an end to the day, but as the beginning of the next level of your awakening. Honor your body as the temple that carries you between worlds. Speak intention into the twilight like casting seeds into fertile ground. Cleanse your energy, not for superstition, but for sovereignty. You are tuning the instrument of consciousness to access clearer signals from the infinite. And in your waking hours, begin living from the codes you reclaim each night. Think of Earth not only as ground, but as action. Walk with purpose. Think of water not only as feeling, but flow. Release the need to control. Think of fire, not just as thought, but command. Speak with clarity. Think of air not only as spirit, but presence. Pause and listen to the silence between moments. This is how reality bends, not through force, but alignment. Not by escaping the world, but by remembering that the outer world is a mirror of your inner state. When the codes are remembered, you stop seeking outside for answers that were always sleeping inside of you. So as you finish this transmission, close your eyes for just a moment and ask yourself, what did I forget before I was born? Let the question echo into the silence. Let your consciousness lean toward the response. You may not hear words, but you will feel a shift, subtle at first, then growing. Because you are not separate from the code. You are its embodiment. You are the breath that bridges realms, the eye that sees between dimensions, the dreamer awakening inside the dream. The veil has lifted now, and you cannot unknow. You were never just the dreamer. You were the architect, the voyager, the guide. So sleep not with amnesia, but with intention. Walk not in confusion, but with communion. And remember, when you close your eyes tonight, you are not shutting off from the world. You are returning to the origin. And from that origin, you carry back the wisdom to shape reality anew. This is your calling, to remember the codes, to live them, to become them. And as you do, the matrix cannot hold you, because you are no longer coded by fear. You are encoded by light. Breathe deep. The dream continues.